we'll do that as well. So I'm going to talk about SOPA, and here we are. Here's our intro slide. Shows our nice, my picture is very airbrushed. I don't know about Sheila's. And everyone needs a haircut these days. So that's kind of rough. But those are our photos. And I'm going to talk about SOPA and Tulane and our programs. And then I'm going to hand things off to Sheila Gold, like I said, who's going to talk more about our graduate admissions process and tuition and important things like that. And then we'll make sure to take a little time at the end to see if people have questions. And yeah, so that's how we'll do the webinar. You know, it's always odd to get onto Zoom with a group of people you don't know these days, right? Like you don't really know what someone's circumstance is. Are they working full time? Have they recently lost a job? Are they juggling a million things like many of us are? And I guess what I would say is if we communicate nothing else today, we want to let you know that SOPA and Tulane are here, that we think that the programs we offer, both the degrees and the certificates, are a really productive next step for many people, that we have incredible programs, we have amazing faculty and great student support, and that whatever your goal is in thinking about going back to school, that Tulane SOPA can help you get there. And so we always start these webinars talking a little bit about the history, because the School of Professional Advancement is a really unusual school within Tulane, and Tulane is unusual as an elite private research university for having made a commitment to educating working adults very early in its history. And not only that, but the fact is that Tulane was founded as the Medical College of Louisiana in 1834, as it says on your screen. And the reason why it was founded was to specifically address tropical diseases and public health issues and yellow fever and cholera, for example. So things do cycle back, right? And so the fact that we're in this pandemic, Tulane is again at the forefront of addressing the public health and health issues related to the pandemic. And Tulane is also here, as it has been, focused on educating working adults and creating opportunity for people to advance. And we're really proud to be a part of that history. Oh, next slide. Thanks. So these are the sort of the 5 areas we always want to cover when we talk to people who are considering coming to Tulane, and I'll go over them quickly, and then we have some more slides that go into more depth. So we put the fact that we're really good at online front and center at the moment, because the fact is that all institutions are teaching online, and in the near future, institutions are going to be doing some mix of on-ground and online, and honestly, no one really knows exactly what circumstances are going to call for. But the fact that we have depth of background and knowledge and we do it well, I think counts for a lot, because there's a lot of pretty mediocre online education going on in the world. There already was. And there's a lot of really great options, and we are one of them. And so we're proud to have that. We'll talk about our programs and faculty pretty quickly, because this is a general webinar about our graduate degrees and certificates. We don't really go into depth about them, but obviously that's the main reason you would come, right? We talk about student support and student support that's customized to support working adults and people who are in different stages of life and different kinds of circumstances. We'll talk later on about affordability, Sheila will talk about our tuition, and we feel really great about the tuition that we charge and the opportunities that we offer, and confident that the potential to get a Tulane degree or certificate at the tuition rates that we charge is in itself a great opportunity and a great value. And then, of course, we always talk about Tulane, which is the fundamental context within which we operate. And there, I would just say that you probably are aware that a lot of higher education institutions are struggling at the moment. I think it's entirely possible that there'll be institutions that will go out of business in the next year or two because of the pandemic and because of the financial crisis that it's brought on. And, you know, Tulane is here. Like, we're not going anywhere. We are not in crisis. We are not struggling. We are adapting. And particularly at SOPA, we were well positioned for the current circumstances and well positioned to adapt, which we're having to do along with everyone else. And there's, you know, I can't overstate the value of a degree from an institution that has the reputation and the longevity and the stability of a place like Tulane. Okay, next slide. So this is just a little more data on online and our depth of experience and our scope here. So these are data points that we started to pull together at the beginning of the pandemic, when we realized that with everyone teaching online, that we needed to be able to say something about how we do it well, and you know, why it's so important to go to a school that does know how to teach online. So many different master's degrees and graduate certificates, programs at the undergraduate level as well, including our post-baccalaureate certificates. Many students, you know, 10,000 or 11,000 hours in the last year. This is obviously, it's an old number, right? It would be way higher now than it was 2 months ago. And faculty trained to teach effectively online, award-winning programs, all of those things. So just to say a little bit about how we do online learning, because most of the programs that we're talking about today are either entirely online or in part online. We have an approach to online instruction that mixes what's called synchronous and asynchronous interactions. So right now, we're all on Zoom together. That is a synchronous interaction. And in general, our online courses meet synchronously once a month. And in some cases, that can involve people who are in the same place physically at the same time, not right at the moment, but interacting with people who are Zooming in from a distance. And then we combine those synchronous sessions with a huge amount of material and exercises and ways for you to interact with one another and with your faculty through videos and simulations and games and discussion boards and guest speakers and videos of guest speakers and all those kinds of things. So I think it's really an optimal learning environment for many people. There is something you lose by not being with people in person, but there's also a lot that you gain in terms of everyone being on the same level. There's no such thing, we often say, or I often say, there's no such thing as hiding in the back of the classroom, right, when you're all online. And people who are just starting to teach online are learning these things, but we've known it for a while, and we use all these assets of online instruction to do a really good job with it. Okay. This is a slide that just picked out 4 members of our faculty just to give a sense of the kinds of faculty who we pull in. Over on the left, Ashley Hand, who is actually the former Chief Innovation Officer of Kansas City, Missouri, who's teaching in our new Masters of Public Administration. Derek Bose, who is an expert in emergency management and disaster recovery. Tyra Mitchell on our full-time faculty, a physical therapist who teaches in kinesiology, so health and wellness and sports studies, and then Ralph Russo, who directs our information technology programs, who is an expert in cybersecurity, a former New York City beat cop, created the first counterterrorism unit in a local police department after September 11th. For example, has all different kinds of experience and all the different kinds of networks, and an ability in every one of these cases, an ability to bring real life experience into classroom settings in ways that help you to think about how you're going to apply the work that you're doing in class to your professional activities, but also the networks and the relationships that that these folks bring benefit you literally throughout your career. The list of former students who have jobs in industry because of Ralph Russo is a long list. So we're really proud of our faculty for all kinds of reasons. These are the areas in which we have master's degrees, and you can see the list, and like I said, I won't be going through all of them today. I'll just say that you know, they're all special in their own right. Most of them are what's called a Master of Professional Studies in a specific applied area. And actually the first MPS degree that we offered in the school was in Homeland Security Studies, and also the first degree that we offered entirely online. And so because that's the longest standing degree, it's also the one with the most awards. But that's one program that helped us to move on to develop many others. Our Master of Liberal Arts is a really special program. That program can be done all on ground in New Orleans, or both on ground and online. And one of the special things about the MLA is that some of the best humanities faculty at Tulane University teach in this program. Sociologists, literature scholars, philosophy professors, because they love to teach adult students and they love the experience and the perspectives that our students bring to the classroom, which is very different than the students they teach otherwise. And then the Masters of Public Administration, which is our newest degree program, launching for the fall. We're recruiting the first cohort right now, and we're really excited about it. All right, and then on the next slide, we have a list of all of our graduate certificates. So one of the things that I would say that's most important about these certificate programs is that all of them are connected to the master's degrees. And so if you start with a certificate and you decide that you want to continue on for a master's, all of the coursework in the certificate program will count toward the master's degree. The newest certificate program we have starting this fall is in what we're calling Cyber Technology Fundamentals. And that program was specifically developed for people who don't have technical backgrounds in information technology, who want to move into the field. And many of those students we expect will continue on to our IT management or our cybersecurity management degrees, which are more focused on the management functions of IT and cyber, but require those technical backgrounds. And then we have a slide that shows our post-baccalaureate certificates. And these are programs that are offered, they're made up of undergraduate coursework, but they require a bachelor's degree. And so these include our K-12 teacher education programs, digital design, other ones, and many of these programs can be done online. Some of them are on ground. It's a mix. I've been really excited recently to admit students literally all over the United States into the graphic design and integrated application development certificate programs, which again can be done online. Okay, next slide. So we always talk about credits for prior learning and the fact that we make room at SOPA for people to bring their prior education and training experience or their professional and volunteer experience into the classroom, and in some cases actually earn credit, up to 6 credits in the case of our graduate degree program. So we have a process called portfolio development and assessment. There are a few hundred universities across the United States that use this process. And basically what it is that we work with you, our faculty works with you to document your experience, to match it to the learning objectives in specific courses. Then once you've completed your portfolio, the faculty grade it. And if you earn a high enough grade, then you are basically exempted from that coursework, and you don't have to take something in an area that you already know well. And she's sharing her screen, so I can't change it for her. She's, there you go, thanks. And actually, I'm gonna turn off my video for a minute because it says my internet's unstable. We always talk about student support and success as well. And I had said earlier that we have a student support structure that is especially built for the needs of working adult students and people who come in with extensive experience. We have excellent academic advisors who will be with you every step of the way in making decisions about coursework and timing and helping you make progress toward your degree. We have a senior academic advisor who provides both workshops and individual advice to students about things like how to improve your LinkedIn profile or how to structure your resume for a particular type of industry. And then of course, like I said, we have the faculty who work with you and who lend you the benefit of their extensive connections and relationships, as well as the fact that you become a Tulane alumnus and you join the SOPA community, which is something that you have with you for the rest of your life and the rest of your career. Next slide. All right, I'll hand things over to my colleague Sheila Gold and stop talking. And like I said, feel free to put questions or comments in the chat at any point.
All right, thanks, Suri. I appreciate the introduction, and let me just echo Suri's welcome to you all. I'm always excited to get to see, even if it's just over the Zoom boxes, students who are interested in our programs, and it is always my pleasure to talk about SOPA programs. So this is a lot of fun for me. Let me just say that we're going to go through. I'm going to share some information about admissions with you all today, but I always like to send the message to all prospective students that we are available. I, along with my admissions colleagues, are available to answer any questions that you may have. One of the benefits of joining the SOPA community is that you get to create relationships and that you're part of our SOPA community. And that starts with the admissions process. So we enjoy getting to know students. We enjoy getting to hear why you're interested in pursuing a degree and sort of what your story is and how we can help you reach your professional goals. And that happens when you send us emails, when you pick up the phone and call us, and when we hear from you. So please, after this, or either in the chat function right now or after the webinar, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. There is no question too big or too small. So SOPA is proud of our affordability. We put this slide in here and we talk to you all about our tuition rate because we feel like we offer an incredible quality education at an affordable price for folks who are thinking of going back to school and working. For the summer, which we are still enrolling students for, our application for the summer does not close until May 15th. So you still have time to submit it. Our tuition rate per credit hour is $1,039, and we have a slight increase come the fall, and that is $1,078 per credit hour. I always like to point out to students, I know that prospective students are savvy consumers, as you should be. You should ask smart questions. There are always fees associated with semesters, with tuition. We are intentional at SOPA about keeping our fees very low. The majority of what you will pay for each semester is your tuition. We have very nominal fees. So please keep that in mind when you're looking at maybe our programs and presumably other programs. Our fees do not add a whole lot more each semester to the bottom line. Most of our students do look at some sort of financial aid. We encourage all of our prospective students to start the FAFSA form as soon as you start your application. It does take about 6 weeks to get the FAFSA through. It can be a little bit faster. But we do encourage our students to go ahead and fill out that form, submit it. And if we can help point you towards our financial aid office, our financial aid officers are available to answer questions as well as our admissions officers. And our students do receive financial aid as support for paying for their degrees. Types of aids that is offered are federal grants and loans. One of the things that I do like to share with students is that we are a yellow ribbon school. So if anybody is interested in the yellow ribbon program, we do have scholarship money available and we're happy to walk you through that program. We have 20% discounts for active duty military and veterans. We are a military friendly school, which goes along with the yellow ribbon program, as well as active and retired public safety personnel, first responders. So that is part of our commitment as a school towards veterans and safety personnel. And of course, Surrey just shared with you the credits for prior learning. While that is a time saving for students, because you may not have to take those classes that you get credits for, it is also a financial savings. So keep that in mind. Up to 6 credits, which is essentially 2 classes, you won't have to spend the time in those classes and you will save the money for those classes. So that could be up to potentially a $6,000 savings. Next slide, Maddie. So let me walk you through the application process. We say that applying is simple. That is not an overstatement. We do that on purpose. We're intentional. We're not trying to trick our prospective students, and we're not trying to make you jump through hoops or make the process so cumbersome that you get discouraged. There is a $50 application fee associated with our graduate applications, but as a thank you to you all for spending your time with us today, we do waive that fee. So because you've attended this webinar, when it comes to the step where you submit your application and the next step is paying the application fee, we are capturing your information today as an attendee, and that fee should be automatically waived. I will tell you, with technology, from time to time, the application fee is not automatically waived. Please send us an email. Do not feel embarrassed or discouraged. We want to waive this fee as a thank you. Send us an email if for some reason it doesn't get waived, and it takes us about a minute on the back end to go ahead and waive it. So we want to do that, but it should by design get waived for you as a thank you for attending. We will need you to include a picture of a current valid government ID. For most students, that is a picture that you can take with your phone. of your driver's license, your current driver's license, and you just upload the image to your application portal. And then we will also need transcripts from your undergraduate institution, from where you received your degree. And if you've also attended more than one institution, we will need those transcripts as well. Transcripts can be sent to us two ways, either through U.S. Postal Service, and there is a little bit of a delay with mail, or you can send it electronically, and we do receive emails electronically, transcripts, I'm sorry, electronically in 24 to 48 hours. So that really is the quickest way to get that information to us. Next slide. Okay, as I said before, we are still accepting applications for the summer. So if any of you all are interested in starting the summer term, you have until May 15th, about another week or so. For those of you that are interested in applying for the fall term, you have until August 15th. And then for those of you who are planners and thinking about starting in the spring and you're on the webinar today, you have until January 1. So we do have starts every semester.
Great.
All right.
So thank you, Sheila. And you can see on the last slide, Sheila's contact information. And of course, all of our social media handles. We're very active with Facebook and otherwise. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Feel free to unmute yourself or put a question in the chat box. And we can answer it now, or we can follow up with you. All right. Well, again, we really appreciate your time today. It's nice to see everyone. I hope that the rest of your day is good. And as we always say these days, I hope you stay well and that you and your family are well and safe. And we look forward to getting to know you at SOPA. We look forward to seeing your application for admission to our graduate programs. And you'll receive a follow-up email from Sheila in the next day with a link to this webinar in case you want to watch it all over again. And we'll be in touch, and please be in touch with you. Again, we really appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.